Right. Hello, everyone. This is Office Hours 48. This time we don't have our CEO, host, amazing person, 𝗕𝗏𝗏. He had some important appointments today. We are here. So just quick introduction. Hey, this is 𝗦𝗏𝗏 𝗙𝗏 Happy New Year. We try to host on 31st December. It was Friday, but then Tara and I had a long conversations and we forgot to record it. And but it was a good conversations we had. But hope you guys had a great 2021 and very good wishes for this year.
Sure. Hi, this is 𝗲𝗏𝗏. I'm the accountant at 𝗕liche AI. Happy New Year as well, and happy Epiphany yesterday. If anybody actually celebrates Epiphany, I'm not really sure if that's a big thing, but marks like the end of the Christmas season. So yeah, excited to talk about everything that we're going to be covering here today.
Yeah. Hey everyone, Ni hao, digital strategist here at 𝗕liche. Happy New Year as well. Hopefully 2022 brings fewer COVID variants and more outdoor time. And once again, yeah, just excited to kick this year off with our first office hours of the year and talk about all these fun points we have.
So we have a couple of points, and let's start with the 2021 year review and how did it go? Anything you might personally learn, which you want to open up, like, on the office hour. If not, it's all good. And we have this amazing report we can go over after this. All right, we will just kick off with a couple of things.
Oh, okay. Did you want to go first with your statements here? You have quite a few topics you wanted to go over.
Sure. So, I mean, it is more about like, how was your 2021? And it was an amazing year. If I talk about like the 𝗕liche on the technical end, on the product development side, we onboarded 𝗣𝗲𝗍 in Q4, and she's amazing, a full stack developer. And a lot of things we built, a lot of lessons I personally learned throughout the year. And one biggest lesson I can say is believing in like the gut feeling, and because that gut feeling is not like coming overnight. It is your experience, it is your expertise, it is what you do in the market, in the product. And sometimes what happened is like someone sitting across the table just know a couple of more things in terms of with the technical language, but when it comes to the actual execution, it's a huge difference. So that's what I personally try to learn with, of course, the pragmatic knowledge at the same time. How does that impact if you don't listen your gut feeling, and what are the ramifications I personally see after that? That was a huge difference. But on the other side, we launched a lot of features. We had amazing customer experience, support, and everything. So, and I also traveled Vancouver in last summer in 2021, and also got a chance to travel India. So I'm currently in India, and so yeah, that's how it was look like.
Yeah, for 2021, for me, I learned that it's important to like look outside of the team that we have now and see like where we're kind of missing some things. We had an excellent opportunity to work with Leon, and he gave us quite a few pointers on just product development, product design, and UI UX. And I think that really helped us to get like a new perspective on what exactly we're doing, to kind of like help us slow down a bit and to really evaluate like where we're going and come together there. So I'm looking forward to like this year as well, just to really think about, what are we missing? Like there's the old adage of, what you know what you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. I think that Leon really helped us to show like what we are, completely just avoiding, or not avoiding, but just not realizing we're missing here. So I'm hoping we're getting a lot more introductions, a lot more relationships building with with some interesting people as far as like sales go too. So they're bringing up some excellent questions that we've been struggling with over the last 2 years as well. But I think it's good perspective shifting and really bringing to light what the problems that we're facing here. Nihal, what did you learn from 2021?
Yeah. What did I learn from 2021? That Google Analytics suck. No, it's the lots to learn last year, which I think was great. I learned, it takes quite a bit of time to get up to speed especially in a small company where everyone's time is a lot more. It's not that everyone's time is always valuable, but I think everyone has their own problems to attend to. So trying to find your own way and understanding the platform, the product, and what you're trying to sell, I think took a longer than I thought it would. Where I think I only really started really understanding all the nuances about Speak. I'd say like 5-6 months in. Versus in my head, like, because in previous jobs, a lot of times the end goals or the things I had to do were very clear cut, very set in stone, very simple, right? It's here's a product, sell this product, that's it. Versus here, it's been more of a journey of here's this product that's still being built, so we're not fully sure what the end product's going to look like 100%. Sell it, but then we might need to change how we sell it in like 2 months, right? So I think that was a fun little learning experience. Learned a lot about the startup space. It was nice to get involved in things like customer success, even some fundraising stuff, which I think is always interesting to learn about, especially if you are someone that cares about entrepreneurship or businesses and just solving important problems. I think it's been a great time to be immersed in this space. And I guess the third big point is that things often take a lot longer to like build and execute and come to fruition and see results from it when you're working on very scrappy resources, right? Because I think just from previous work that I've done, I've gone from working with not $1 million, but a couple $100,000 in marketing budget to a minimal spend, but kind of to see the impact that even though there was not a lot of money per se put into a lot of the efforts, apart from like my time, that you can still generate great results, right? Like money isn't necessarily the end all and be all of success and growth, but it does help. Right? So I guess for us, like even just some of the topics we're going to talk about today, just us working towards moving into a, I guess, financial space, and where we can experiment a bit more, get a bit more support, and execute on all these cool things we want to work on a bit more quickly and efficiently as well, and with less hours, hopefully. Right? All right, Vattel.
Yeah, correct. That's correct. It's also like, with the limited resources or limited scope, that's where the creativity comes out, right? It's like, because when you have a lot of resources, I think so it's a human behavior. Your mind become too dependent on the things where the things are like in the limited scope. It's always is like, okay, what something new we can do here. So, okay, to continue that, we have this amazing article on the website about this 2021 report review title side. So, Nihal, do you want to share the screen, or I have the access? So, Nihal, feel encouraged to jump in. This is the amazing picture with everyone here, and this is the chart. We see like the user sign up growth sort of the month over month, and I mean at the end we had like 2,600 users in total user, which was like almost 400% jump, and 27 active subscription. A couple of additions we already talked about, which is like importing the text documents, and that is something unique with the one simple UI. You can just dump any type of media in bulk and analyze it. Of course, the professional transcription software we have built, and Lauren also has done an amazing job to manage that along with Tyler. So Lauren, do you want to add anything here?
No, I think we've made a lot of improvements over the year as well, just to make it easier for our actual transcription team to work through what we send over to them. I still think there's quite a lot more work to be done, just to kind of make it like automated, but we will get there. We will get there.
Yeah, I agree. So that's the human transcription platform, professional transcription platform. We are working on to support with the ease, and also on the customer end, you know how long it's going to take. And a couple of features, including the Zapier and also the personalized, the 𝗣𝗲𝗁 solution for the report generation and all. This is more about the product development. We can chat about it later. And at the same time, a couple of, we are trying to close our fundraising in early 2020 in Q1. Just if you're interested, feel encouraged to send an email to Tyler or any of us to continue that conversations in that direction. Nihal, do you want to add anything here?
No, I think what's nice about this is it gives, like last year towards the end of the year, we talked about looking at things from just like a point basis versus looking at trends. And I think, for example, this breakdown lets us see the trends. And, when you kind of look at things from a month to month perspective, sometimes you're like, oh, maybe we didn't do enough, or yeah, but then when you actually look at the, you zoom out a bit and you kind of see that, no, there has been significant growth and significant change, and the work that you did was worth it at the end of the day, which I think is a very great feeling that you don't always necessarily get in I guess like a traditional job
on your day-to-day life,
or in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, correct. And this is amazing picture from Tyler and Monica. Yeah,
making us jealous with the dog, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so cute. All right. Okay. So if you have any other thoughts around this, and it's like if you want to contribute, of course, you can ping us on any social media or just send us a private email.
So, I guess, did you want to hop into the some of the exciting changes we're planning to bring this quarter?
Sure. Yeah. So a couple of things which is going very, very soon live, and those are like a lot of requests you see consistently in the nature from the customer. And one is like, can we manage our files apart from the tags, or are there any other ways to put all this file in the one bucket or in the one folder? Because these are either coming from different clients or have the different reasons behind it to put in the one bucket. So that's what we call like the folder structure, and the options to create your own folder, manage all these files, and use the application with the same user experience. And along with that, a couple of minor UI UX changes along with it for the better user experience. And that's going to be the incredible change because it's like we always talk about media management, or we are making easier for you to manage all this media. And there is always the crucial piece we wanted to put on the speak. So that is coming very, very soon live. And along with that, it is connected with the concept of the public media library, where you just need one link and give you an access or for the clients or for the end user, all your media and the analysis, so that they can look at or search through or find anything from the media with the beautiful visualizations we are putting on the screen. So that's amazing amazing change along with it coming. We are going to do the special office hour for this, the whole public media library concept. We'll do some demos for that. And that is also coming with the full white label solution where you also can replace your domain and keep your branding stuff as it is. So have that aesthetic for you. So any other thoughts, please?
What's the purpose for the public media library? Do you find like who really needs that, and like what are they using it for?
Yep. So one of the example we have is like the Ryerson University, right? I mean, they changed the name, but the Ryerson University have on their website all these entrepreneur videos where they talk about the different topics, and they put our embeddable media player on each page. But now, what are the possibilities? If you think about, they can just add a link with respect to specific topics. So they also don't need to merge or tag all this media on their web page, and it become more easier. Let's say if you are looking for the investment, then all the videos you can find on the website are related to the investment. So you can easily find what are they talking about, the top keywords, or any such categories they have created. And we do have a couple of users. I'm not sure I should be talking with the names on the office hour, but they have the different newsletters or the different recordings of the meetings or even the research they have done over the Zoom, and they put into the different buckets and want to share the whole folder in the limited scope. So you are not opening up your whole account, let's say out of thousands of video, you are just putting 10 video in one folder and just sharing with the customers. So they can look at, they can read through the transcription, or they find the analysis, or even the top positive or negative sentiment. So it's become more easier to go through instead of watching all this media and stuff. That would become more easier on that end. Does that satisfy you, or okay?
Yeah.
Like, what are some I guess if you could relate it to, like, would you say there are existing tools out there that do something similar, or is this something that you think is pretty unique to what 𝗨𝗏 offers?
I remember that from like I think Gary V had like a website that was kind of similar, where he'd have all his videos uploaded, and then like every time you want to find out, every time he talked about whatever, you just search it and it brings up all the actual videos. Is that essentially what's just going on? Is that you just look
because see, I mean, for the Gary V, it is very much he put a lot of investment into build that website and build the whole searchable media library for him. But let's say there are so many like businesses who can put the same way with the one iframe or with the one click, and I mean all that users can utilize that. So in my knowledge, in my experience, that is very unique. It's very unique product, or the very unique solution you are going to provide. Yes, there is a Gary V, but the website where you can search through only where Gary V talk about. So that's the whole different scenario. But if you look at, let's say, I mean, the services we put in the competitor list, none of them have such an ability right now. If something is in the product development, that's a different story, but none of these things are in the market. Where
is it this search.garyvaynerchuk.com? Is that the one?
I think so.
Yeah, like the Gary V search engine, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Sort of the idea he built it.
Yeah, I mean that's neat. But like you said, like he probably had like a full-fledged like dev team essentially build this from scratch for him.
Yeah, it is like the custom solution. It's like, or maybe like outsource the team or something like that. It's like inbuilt solution just around that. But like it becomes so much easier, right? It's like whatever, any specific thing he talk about, or like, you know, for this other businesses, it's not necessary they have the capital or even the tech team to execute it. Yeah. So that's where, I mean, our previous conversations comes into the picture where, like, you know, it is more about you have money, but or you have capital, but either you don't have a time, or either or not have the technical experience to execute it with the full-fledged the product in the short span.
It's fairly rudimentary too. So that's kind of yeah. Cool. You know,
go ahead.
No, I think that'd be cool, especially if you can if we can package it in such a way. So I mean, once this is ready, obviously the people that would probably benefit from this the most will be companies that are already producing tons of content across different platforms, right?
Exactly.
It could definitely be useful even for individuals or smaller businesses, but you'd probably see the most value out of it when it comes to pre-existing content, right?
Pre-existing content
and
who
created.
is producing a lot of content. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's when you have a lot of media. I was think about on the Gary Vee, you're not able to search through the text. If you put some research, I mean, of course, it's not doing any research work like that, but think about you also can search through any text document too at the same time. So it is very niche to the problem or to the businesses for it. So it's very specific to, and you can utilize either, let's say in the education piece, you can use it either on the business end where you're creating the content, or just wanted to publish your research work publicly where they can search through anything.
Do you think, can you foresee any sort of security issues with doing this then? I just have the one shareable link. Should there be more so passwords and encryptions going on there as well?
So there are two things. Number one, as a customer, as a user, you are generating that link. So when you generate it, you know that this videos will be available online, at least if you have the access to that link for this public media library. And the second thing is you also can make it password protected. So the same thing we have on this individual media player, that if you don't have the password, you cannot access the media. So if you want to keep it private, of course you can make it. So I mean, with both the respect, we are maintaining and keeping all their media, secured and not have the access on the public level. So I mean, that's on the user's end. If you don't generate a link, they're always going to be private, and you always can disable with the one click to just remove it completely. And remember, we also implemented this the Google indexer thing. So what happened in that case is the Google index all this content which is available online. It's with the one click, we remove all this this indexing search. So even your individual media player or the public library is not going to be indexed on Google. So at that level, we are making sure that it is not even indexed on the Google.
That's not indexed on Google. Yeah. Wouldn't there be people
so
who want it all indexed though? If people are using it for marketing purposes?
Yeah, for the marketing for sure, but let's say either the education or any private research stuff, you don't want to get indexed by Google, or someone searching for something related to scientific work or anything like that that's not supposed to be popular in the result from Speak.
Well, there is the option to index it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So by default, of course, it is the option is enabled.
Yeah.
But you always can enable or disable it anytime.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So you have a point about how to get more people, and it's we also talk about it a bit early in the morning. From the free trial to paid one. It's a couple of points around that was the conversion rate, increase conversion rate. It's what needs to be done. So what are you thinking about that?
So I think one big thing we were discussing this morning was just, now that we are consistently seeing this wave, a wave of signups, and people using the platform, playing around with it, some finding value from it, some not. How do we leverage all these people? Not leverage them, but how do we provide enough value to these users coming in so that they feel that they're willing to actually pay and use the platform on a more consistent basis, right? Because we give this 14-day free trial with 60 free minutes and all premium features unlocked. But it's up to us now to figure out, is it a matter of our product not providing enough value that people don't want to switch over or switch from free to paid, or is it just things on our end where maybe we're just not asking, maybe we're just not providing them enough incentive to continue that journey with us, to further see the value that the platform provides. So one thing I believe you brought up earlier today, Vatzel, was, or someone brought it up, but we're a team, so it's fine. But they mentioned something about people come in to do a specific purpose, but it's like, okay, so they did something, maybe that one thing they came to do wasn't valuable enough of a problem for them to continue using the platform, but maybe they hadn't touched any other aspects of the platform that they could have seen value in that would have contributed to that decision for them to switch from free to paid. So now our next step is, okay, now that people are on the platform, we're working on our onboarding experience, working on our customer education. Now, what is that next incentive for people to A, explore more of the platform, and B, find enough value? And whatever that is, for some people that's cost, to some people that's time saved, figuring out what that trigger is and helping them, through that funnel to get them to actually pay to use us and become part of the Speak community and the Speak platform and integrate it into their workflow, right? So I think this kind of ties a bit in with some of the initiatives we maybe discussed that we did want to try this year, where anything from some public launches, to special offers. Because I remember last year we did have a podcast episode where we talked about AppSumo. And, we were approached by AppSumo, but, for various reasons, it just didn't make sense for us to take them up on that deal, even though it probably would have led to a really large influx of new users.
So you think that pricing is the biggest drop off? I mean, pricing is the biggest issue right now.
I think depending on, because we were discussing what is it that people are coming in for, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like depending on what people do come in for. So for example, if people are just looking for a speech to text solution, the problem is, with the way some players in the space have commodified, like just automatic transcription, at the end of the day, for that very base level function, people are now used to a very subsidized price, right? To get that task done. So I think if, let's say, people are coming in looking for just a speech to text solution, I mean, we know this, right? Like we definitely are on the slightly higher side when it comes to cost, but not only are we not, like, A, we're bootstrapped, B, we offer more than just automatic transcription, right?
Yep, correct.
But I guess in a customer's mind, it's like, do they care about that, right? Like, or how do we make them care about the fact that, sure, you are paying a bit more, but here are all the additional benefits that you get with that slight premium, right? Yeah.
And it's like, for example, we talk about the drop off of the customer or maybe the conversion rate. But I mean, the last year, the situation was different. And we were lacking the feedback. There was not that many customers on the platform. It was still building. It was like talking about Jan 2021. So not a lot of things were there. The pandemic was like, probably almost on a peak. But let's say this year, we do have, consistent sign up every day, around like 15 to 20. And I mean, if you ask me, like, it's like if I can do from India, I would rather every single one of them is like who drop off.
Looks like we might have lost Vatzel again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Blame that 4 Mbps bandwidth he's got going on over there.
Yeah, that's rough. That's ancient.
It is ancient. Not as bad as dial-up, but I still remember like oh, there he is. There he is.
He's back.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
Okay. No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear.
You're good.
Okay, and it's going to be sort of the wavelength of the bandwidth here. I don't know what you guys are hearing me last.
You were talking about we're getting this constant stream of people, and now we'd rather have people. That's what you said. You said something about I'm in India and would rather have 15 people do something. Yeah.
I mean, so what was the reason behind it? It's like, rather we can email them individually and it's like ask them. Of course, we always can make the assumptions, but realistically, if we ask them, it's like even out of 15, 5 of them respond. Those 5 is going to be worthwhile, undertaking statements. It's like, okay, these are the reasons we didn't sign up. I mean, we did this survey and a couple of things were like, make sense. But a couple of them was like, of course, we are not supporting right now, like the multilingual, because we do a lot of analysis on top of that, apart from the ASR for those reasons. But actually, I lost my point where I was going. But the thing is, like, if we ask the customers, I think so that's going to be the more valuable feedback, because if we see like out of 15, I think so. If I'm accurate, like, up to 60% people like uploading the first media or creating the recorder or even creating the text note.
Right.
Even, we completely remove the whole onboarding experience because that was just creating unnecessary chaos in between.
I think we're onto a stage where now we have a new problem. Like, obviously we still, a new, better problem, right? Like, obviously user acquisition and funneling people into the platform is important. But now this next step is, okay, now that the people are here, how do we get them to stay, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's an interesting next step. So now we're moving more from user acquisition more into like CRO and like conversion rate optimization territory.
Exactly.
Right? Which is great. I mean, that was the end goal, and we're here.
For any product, for sure. But the only thing is, like, for those problems, like, we just need to be focused. And like, aligned with it until it is not gets done. And it's like, I don't know if you have watched this Lex Fridman with Elon Musk, the one question he asked about is like, okay, you're working on all these different technologies, but like the overall sentiment was like, why didn't you give up? When like you were almost done. And Elon replied, it's like, I won't give up unless it is not done. So it's like there is no setback or like there is no fallback. You just look at it done. So it's like there is always, you can do the complaints, you always do other stuff, but things needs to be done at the end of the day. That's the important for the product or the business. Yep. So that brings us sort of the corrected point. Where if you want to chat about sort of the problem statement and how direct towards in what sense?
Sure. I wanted to ask you guys, what would you say that is our problem statement? I'm curious to see how much that aligns with what we have on our slide deck as well. And also, again, who is that? Where does that problem statement actually come from? Like, who is that directed towards, and why do they have that problem to begin with?
That's the fundamental question for the business, because the reason behind it is like, and any business runs on those problem statements, and it's like, why are you building in the first place? I mean, if you ask me, it's like, when we started, the problem statement were about providing the analysis on top of ASR, along with the sentiment analysis, or we also used to do the face recognitions. So the analysis was always the core piece of the product. But when you started, you of course make the assumptions, you understand from the market, And Tyler also was running the marketing agency. He see a couple of patterns were emerging again and again. So that's how the whole story started. But like when you learn that, okay, the recording solution is not there. So we built the recording solution. We want to share this public, the assets. So we built a couple of things in that direction. But I think so at the end of 2021, we built a lot of buckets in many different directions, and that's stretching us up and having hard to say what exactly, how you can explain with the one-liner what is PKI. We're talking about a couple of things here and there about this data visualizations and stuff. So I mean, I think so that ends up not just confuse user, but even me, it's like, okay, what the heck exactly we want to go. And even when you develop the product, a lot of things you make problem statement because the reason behind it is like, okay, what type of the challenges are going to come on the product and how we can address those things. You just cannot mix it up with a lot of things. So I probably didn't answer you the straightforward question, the one-liner, because I mean, that's basically the product market fit. If you have that one-liner. So I mean, that's the ongoing process, and we're gonna find it. It is just more about the time and finding with the right approach and the direction.
To feed off that, I think on our slide deck, if I remember correctly, I think our problem statement centers around unstructured data and making that, that knowledge, that hidden knowledge, more accessible, yep. Which I think is great as a vision, but I think it doesn't provide much in the way of business focus, right? So I think it explains what we're trying to do, and I think the next step is what are the ways we're helping to achieve that larger and grander vision. I mean, if I were to, like, as we stand, if I were to try give a one-liner, I think it would be along the lines of probably along the lines of the statement we kind of have on our homepage right now, where it is this idea of creating searchable media libraries or searchable media engines to enable like the accessibility of all your like language data. So it's not in those exact words on our website, but I think these are some words and focuses that we've kind of thought about and talked about, where yes, there's these platforms that you can basically dump all sorts of data into and analyze it, do your tables, do your charts using this data. But our focus is almost, I mean, ideally, and based on our platform, is very centered around language data specifically, right? Whether that comes in the form of text, video, or audio. And I think figuring out how to make, like, what are problems unique to language data, and showcasing how our platform solves those problems specifically, once again, geared towards language data, is where our kind of product market fit is going to come from. So that, sorry, that's kind of where I land.
And also, like, I mean, the analysis is like, centered around the language. So, when I said, like, the analysis piece was along the language, it's like, we started with the 4 pillars. It's like, it is still a lot of connected, which is like, of course, importing with all sort of media, which we sort of achieved it already. So that you can dump any sort of media and analyze it, which is like language data. Second is like the analysis piece. That could be the sentiment, that could be the categories, that could be the whole NER piece, including the redaction. The third piece is like the shareable assets. That could be the public media library, that could be the graph, That could be any assets which you can sell publicly. And the last piece, which we are trying to center around, that could be improving or helping you to find the gold or the insight from the language, which becomes very much dependent on what type of problem they're trying to solve, and that is more centered around it. But those 4 pillars are always be the part of the speak, and I don't see anywhere it's changing. It is, I mean, it is. I'm not the great, linguistic person, but like where I can put the words, I can execute it way better than that. But that's the whole idea around. We always have, and we always will have, even in the future. I think so. It is just more about when it comes even to the product market fit. It is more about choosing the right words and making it more convincing with your product, and making sure that product does work. What you say on the website or even the slide deck.
Yeah, agreed. It's here's your problem, and here's how we're going to help you solve it. Like that. That's our end goal.
Because I mean, in that sense, because we have these 4 pillars. That, I mean, Nihal, you just talked about a couple of weeks ago, like, we had a customer like who had one problem, and that was the issue that he churned out because he didn't see it was there or something like that, right? So always the user going to come with the one problem, and it's like if you present this, oh, we support this all 4 solution, but no, I'm just looking for the one problem, and I mean that makes me more confident about this pricing changes we want to make, and why the buckets are going to be important in the direction, because then we are just going to be provide that bucket is like, okay, here's problem, here's the solution, make it more easier, make it more compelling. The sales, like we are planning to hire a couple of people here and there, and the reason behind it is they're going to have the same equation, and it's like, what's the solution for that? What are we doing in that direction to work for that? It's like, I think so. I don't know, Nihal, let's say if you want to put in the marketing on your website or any of this article, does that make you more, give you any confidence in that direction, make you more compelling around that? Yes, this makes sense. I can work on this one bucket, and I can make it more convincing to the people who comes with the problem.
Yeah, I think definitely, right? We did have, there's this idea in my head of even just the way we structure our site, right? I think what we have is a good V1, but in my head, there is a V2 in here, where now we move away from use cases or just very top level use cases and start drilling down into more specific solutions, and basically creating content and educating people around, here are some very specific problems, and here is how either we can help you solve it, or here is how people we have, like clients or customers we've worked with, have solved it, right? Because I think that's where you start establishing yourself and your product as well as product leaders, or just problem solvers in the space, where people no longer have to figure out these problems and solutions for themselves. It's like, hey, we've done it. You just come to us and we'll help you do it for you as well, right?
Exactly.
So I think definitely figuring out those buckets, figuring out who each of those buckets most, like 80% applies to, and then just kind of driving, creating these kind of separate funnels for each of those target audiences. Because like you said, they'll care about different things, right? They'll care about different things from a price perspective. They'll care about different things from a messaging perspective, and they'll care about different things from an outcomes perspective. So if it's a single, like for example, if we are talking about just an individual user, more than likely let's say their end goal, for example, might not be tied to revenue, let's say, necessarily, right? Versus now, let's say you're talking about a enterprise grade solution, where at the end of the day, all they care about is, how's this going to save me time and money, right?
For sure.
So it is very different messaging that you really can't carry across segments because they're not speaking the same language.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The another example to just add on that is, let's say the medical or the healthcare we are executing, right, with the API or with the front end. I mean, they don't care even about the assets. It's like what are we trying to generate out of it? It is more about, let's say, the ASR or speech to text or even the report generation, but not on the setting this library and stuff. I mean, in my view, it become more convincing, and that's a point before we talk about is like how we can increase the conversion rate. And in my view, that become much more easier because it is more focused. Of course, a couple of buckets are going to be a silo in its own way, but that is okay. And also for the product market fit, we would have more strategic execution in that direction, that let's say this bucket does help in the education, in the HR, in the marketing, in the research, or for the and once we pick this industry, then we can dig down that who are these people executing for this bucket. And at the end, let's say for the enterprise, it is more about selling multiple buckets at the end of the day. With respect to for the small, medium size, it is more about selling just the bucket what they're looking at. I don't know, that just gives me more confidence, even in selling rather than building.
More clarity, right? Because you're just going to them with, here is a pre-made solution, right? You don't need to like shop around. You don't need to like come to our site and like be like, what applies to me? We can just go out and be like, this applies to you. Do you want a demo, or do you want to explore this option? Right? Yeah. So agreed.
And it also becomes so easier, right? It's like as a user, let's say how you come on the platform with just one problem, and there's a one pop-up that, hey, we are just enabling one of this bucket for next 1 month just for you for free. Just give a try. And if you don't like it, it's up to you. Rather than forcing them, we are just providing that another functionality just free of cost.
It would be interesting to see how you I guess this is something for us to work on, but how to, because at the end of the day, like one problem we've always had, I think, is just overwhelming certain users.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, instead of overwhelming them, is there a way maybe to like gate certain sections until they want to explore that section, as an example?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I feel like I've had an example of where it's like, even if, I don't know, just any application, right? Or even on your phone, like it'll always ask you, for example, do you want to activate like advanced features or developer settings, whatever it is, right? So there's kind of this consumer friendly level, and then there's this deeper level that you can dive into if you want. But if you don't want to, you don't have to worry about it. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even with that piece, we had these conversations about like in the onboarding experience and only displaying the feature based on that.
Lost him again. Goodness.
Okay. Well, he'll come back.
Yeah. So to continue my question, I suppose, of this problem statement, I think you got pretty close as far as like there's people with unstructured data, they need to structure it, and it's not just all data, it's mostly like media data. And like who is the people that have this problem the most, and like why do they have that problem to begin with? So I think we're saying that again, with a lot of researchers like within like universities too, and medical professionals and everybody who's in like the marketing sphere of audio and video as well.
Because I think to that point, like there needs to be, because more often than not, a lot of these specific groups aren't necessarily out there doing research on their own tools, right? Oftentimes it is just a very top-down decision. It's like, hey, we are now working with this vendor, learn to implement it, right? That might be changing, but I still feel like in a lot of companies that aren't necessarily, you know, like tech oriented or tech focused, that this kind of tool distribution is still very top down, right? Like obviously it can be a matter of, well, I found this cool tool, can we integrate it into our stack? I think that works a lot of times at tech oriented or forward oriented companies, but there are still so many companies where this level of bureaucracy is there, where things are approved at the top and then you need to use it, right? It's not like you really have a choice. So I think figuring out who those change makers, let's say, like these people that are integrating new software into their stacks, and showcasing to them why this change will be beneficial to them from an organizational and leadership perspective. Like, hey, you helped save your workforce 30% of their time that they can now utilize elsewhere in more drudgery, right? So I think that's something that we are slowly finding our path towards, and we are seeing some early success, for example, with some of the outreach we've done. It's just now a matter of how do we ramp that up and support that initiative, where it's like, okay, product is ready. Obviously, we still want to improve it and make it as beautiful and functional as possible. But in order to do that, we'll need more people who will be using the platform heavily. And the way to get those people are, here's our platform. It is, you know, in its current state, it's 100% ready, but this does not mean it's a final version. We are adding X, Y, Z. We can onboard you for, you know, this rate, this discount. You know, we'll give you a 2-year contract, whatever it is, and kind of just go from there. That's kind of how I think we'll find that next level of focus.
That's the goal of 2022. Okay. How are we doing with the time?
Okay. When we started like 5 minutes, yeah, it's almost like an hour. I think we're
at time.
Yeah, but we're pushing time.
You
So
have a
maybe
few more topics too, Vatsil. You had the education versus awareness, and the collaboration of the team between marketing, product, and sales. Is there anything there that you want to discuss?
I think so. No, it's pretty good. I mean, the awareness and the education piece is like we have brought up before. It just stick to my mind. It's like that's very interesting because sometimes, let's say for the ASR, it is not about the education. I mean, it is neither the education or awareness. Sometimes, it is very known thing in the market when they come with the problem. But what is associated with the ASR, it's more important. And I think so that's where the awareness comes in the picture, and then education, because you are aware about the problem, you know what you're looking for, but probably are not educated enough to know how to use this product or how does this work or something like that. So that was a very interesting thing. Probably we can extend in the next office hour along with the product, the collaboration piece. Because these are a couple of things important, because when it's a product, it is just not the product, it is not just the marketing team, it's not the sales team, it is the combination effects that impacts at the end of the day. So that's very important to keep in that mind, and making sure all three engines are running in parallel at the end of the day. So yeah, you want to add anything there?
I think it's a big topic that we should definitely keep in mind for next week. Yeah.
So any last thoughts before we wrap up our first office hours of 2022?
No, I think it's good. It's definitely weird. I think like when we look at our stats after the fact, it's not going to be Tyler as #1 talk time anymore. So that'll be interesting to see if it's even more evenly spread or not. But apart from that, no, I'm just excited for the year ahead. I think it's going to be a good one.
Okay.
Awesome.
Miss you, Tyler, in our first office hour 2022, but hoping to see you in the next office hour. Again, thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
listening.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.